Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the Ahead of the Curve panel. I'm Kathryn Given, Senior Style and Market Editor at Luxe Interiors and Design. I'm so excited to be heading back to market again this summer. And for everyone planning, the dates are August 22nd through the 26th in Las Vegas. But today I have the pleasure of being joined by four amazing designers who have already done a lot of the dirty work for us all. They have scouted products that will be at market. They're going to give you great insight into what's trending, highlights from some of their favorite manufacturers, and what to look out for in person if you are in Las Vegas later this month. With that being said, though, please visit lasvegasmarket.com to get some more information. Also, if you guys have any questions for us during the discussion, please include them in the chat feature. We'll try to get to some of those at the end. But I am so thrilled to be chatting with four very talented designers today. We have Marie Burgos, Nadia Watts, Jamilyn Fournier, and Jay Jeffers. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Welcome. So before we dive into chatting about trends, I want to introduce you all very briefly. Marie is a certified Feng Shui master, product designer, and founding principal of Los Angeles and Manhattan-based Marie Burgos Design. She and her team service clients all over the world and create interiors that are harmonious, sophisticated, and functional, all while embracing the client's personal aesthetic and lifestyle needs. And I can attest her furniture is beautiful, and I'm so excited you're here. Hi, Marie.
I'm excited to be with you guys. I mean, it will be, surprisingly my first time in Las Vegas market. I scatter the states to go to different markets, but definitely Las Vegas is going to be a new one for me, and I've discovered so many beautiful things. I'm excited to share with you today. So
it'll be fun. Next up, we have Nadia Watts. She is the founder and principal designer for Denver-based Nadia Watts Interior Design. She delivers exceptional interior design to clients across the country, and her collaborative approach to design and project management has led to long-lasting relationships with clientele looking to personalize and refine their spaces. But Nadia's forte is attention to detail and expressing the personalities of her clients in the feel of their homes. Thanks for joining us, Nadia.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Be a fun conversation. Next up, we have Jay Jeffers. He is an author, interior, and product designer, as well as the founder of J. Jeffers, Inc., and owner of San Francisco-based J. Jeffers, the store. J. Jeffers offers a full range of concept to installation services, including interior architecture, custom furniture design, art and antiques acquisitions, and decoration. Also, his retail showroom in San Francisco is such a treasure trove. And Jay, I can't wait to hear, your take on what's happening when it comes to products in the market. Thanks for being here.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Kathryn.
Last but certainly not least, we have Jamilyn Fournier. She specializes in both lifestyle and interiors. She is an interior designer as well as the curator and founding principal of the Collector's House in Scottsdale, Arizona, which specializes in luxury home decor. Jamilyn, your boutique is so dreamy. I'm excited to see what pieces and designs you have scouted. Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So as I mentioned, for the Ahead of the Curve program, these designers took a look at some of the hottest trends they're seeing in the home and decor space right now. And first up, we have Back to Black. From the little black dress to a furniture accent or full black wall coverings, the color black is never short on mystery or sophistication. I like to punctuate a room with a few black finishes, accents, or hardware to create contrast and drama against lighter tones. Black creates instant elegance and can be used in any room. Marie, I could not agree more with this, but tell us a little bit about your trend and how you approached it.
So the way I approach it is from also my Feng Shui practice. So I integrate Feng Shui in all my designs by the use of natural elements, by really working out a great placement, layout, but also balancing the two opposite forces of yin and yang. The color black really full of fun energy, of mystery, of sophistication. It holds the energy of power and protection on people. So you want to have a little bit more of black in your home, and really pair it with lighter tone or colorful tone, a touch of, you know, bright colors also. But it's really, when you integrate it into an entrance, an office, or an area that needs more calm and grounding energy, it's really it creates well-being and really helps bring more harmony throughout the space. So really balancing all those forces and all this energy around your home.
I love that feng shui approach. Very interesting. Let's take a look at some of your products. Can you sort of walk us through your picks?
Absolutely. So let's talk about maybe the Bryland Black Demi-Lune by Curry and Company. So for me, it's a very sophisticated and elegant look. And it has this impressively sized brass flower pool, which is very stunning ornamentation on wood. So it's really contrasting the caviar, what they call the caviar black stain. So it's very luxurious name also. But with this floral motif in antique brass finish, it brings an added sophistication to the black cabinet. And really, I think also the brass flower really illustrates the skills of the artisans who hung past the handle in brass. So, you know, kudos to Curry and Company for that beautiful craftsmanship. And really the curves are very inviting to me. It's really suitable, I think, for design styles such as a traditional, transitional, or even contemporary. And also it's a petite size, you know, at 48 inches wide. So I think it's really perfect for entryways, you know, shorter walls where you want to have a storage piece, but you don't have, you know, a whole wall for a whole buffet. But it's the way it's ornate and beautifully made. It can really pair really nicely with a beautiful artwork above it or a mirror. So, and talking about a mirror here, I have chosen also the old mirror by charcoal, in charcoal black by noir. It's in a very particular wood, which is the Sungkai wood. It's an Indonesian wood, which is pretty strong, pretty solid and durable. It's also used for roof frame and house poles, but it's at the same time a wood which is soft enough to be carved, to be, you know, modeled by artisans, and that you can see actually the beautiful craftsmanship that they've done here. And I love the chunkiness of the design of these curves. It has a very organic feel to me. It feels very inviting, and I think it's a perfect striking piece in an entryway or even a powder room. You know, if you have like a beautiful like graphic wallpaper, and then you display that beautiful chunky mirror over a floating vanity, you really have, you know, a beautiful space. So it creates a wow factor and give you that kind of a boudoir look in a powder room, for example, or just a very, you know, elegant look in an entry.
Especially with these dark colors, it's really about sort of the finishes or the, you know, metallics that you accent them with, right? And especially with this matte light and obviously the gold, but tell us sort of about this mix.
So here the mix of the gold and the black, it's really about like mixing materials, bringing all those different natural elements. So here, for example, the ellipse bench from Global Views, you have 3 different materials. You have metal legs painted in gold, you have cowhide leather top, and then this black stained wood that allows, you know, still the natural grain to be seen also. It's very elegant. And I love that little thin metal edge detail, which really demonstrate the beautiful craftsmanship of the artisans. The shape is very sensual, it's very inviting. It's kind of inspired by the 1920s, but I think it's still very appealing to today's decor. I would definitely integrate it like at the bottom of at the foot of a bed in a primary bedroom, or just in a foyer to create an elegant spot, to pose when you just arrive. And then you can pair it with the Sarah pillow by Cloud9. Cloud9 is a favorite of mine because they have so many colors, so many textures to work with. And here I've chosen, just staying with my back to black theme, the charcoal and black velvet oblong wave pillow with those gold beads. And again, like I mentioned the feng shui before, you have the balance of yin and yang with the soft plush velvet paired with the grainy kind of beads. You have the black, the dark color with a lighter gold color. So it's really that bring that balance of, and you can use this pillow in a moody bedroom or on a sofa, an accent chair, to really create that elegance feel. So I just, love what Cloud9 does. And then here the pendant is by Arterios. It's the island pendant. And Arterios, I've been working with Arterios for many years. I love their light fixtures. There's so many, options in scale, in shapes. And here, to stay with my theme of back to black, because I really think that this is a great way to bring elegance in a room, regardless of the color, the theme of the room. It's having touches of black in it really bring that added, framing, like when you have an artwork and you frame it in black, it just like pops even more. So here, this island pendant is a beautiful mix of material. It's showcasing a paneled leather shade with gold leaf interior. So, and it's this torch edge, you see the details like this, it really has more of a masculine quality to it. And it really balances the more feminine, like softer side also, again, that balance of yin and yang. It has a little bit of a rustic feel to me, but also it can be industrial, organic. And it makes me think of the leatherback sea turtles, sometimes, they are also called the lute turtle, which are one of the largest of all living turtles in the Caribbean seas, where my island of Martinique is in the Caribbean. So it's kind of an ode to this amazing animal. And so we're going back to nature, we're going back to, organic design. So back to black is really like entwined in many other design style and design feel and atmosphere that we want to create in a space. And so it looks very versatile, and I would use it over a kitchen island or over a bar, whether residential or commercial, in a loft that's more industrial, or in the fabulous man cave, like over like even a pool table. So it really like depends how the wattage for the lighting would work, like for specifically for this, for example, a pool table. But it's definitely a piece that's raises your eyes up, because it has so many different materials that are interesting to work with.
And before we kind of go on to your last page, and these were some of my favorite designs, I just want to hear, from some of the other panelists, do you guys use black? Are you color people? I mean, I really do feel like it's a neutral, but, Jamilyn, are you drawn to black usually too in some of your design schemes?
Yes, I am. And I think in my showroom, I show so much, white and oyster and really light pieces, but we intertwine black and wood. And I think what I even see in what everyone has selected today, there's so much black intermixed in, and it is, like you're saying, it is more of a neutral in our coloration and in our environments. So it's a beautiful balance.
What about
and I
you?
love what you selected.
The mix is beautiful. It's fun to hear you talk about them. But Jay, are you a color guy, or do you gravitate towards black a lot too?
Oh, I'm definitely a color guy. I use less black than honestly I would like to. It's so funny that we're sitting there saying this, and I'm looking over my shoulder in my studio, and these two pieces of art are black, and this one's black and white. I've never put that together before. But I have to say, every time I go into a space where there's a lot of black, especially in upholstery and things like that, I always think to myself, I need to use more black. I don't use enough. I think I use it in materials and blackened oak and things like that in furnishings, but less so in the fabric and rug world. And I think it's chic and timeless. So this is inspiring me to do more.
Great.
Nadia, what about you? I mean, you look like you have a very colorful background, but I know that's a little deceiving, right? Because you're traveling.
I would say I'm more color, but I would say that I use quite a bit of black in wood pieces, you know, in case pieces and whatnot. But I'm loving these, especially this table that's right up on the screen. The shape, the interesting shapes of the legs and whatnot. But I agree with Jay. I should use a little more.
Focus through these last two pieces because, you know, talk about tactile, right? Like this Laloy rug, you just want to sink into.
Absolutely, and you use all the right words here, and I agree with everybody. Like even myself, like today I did a theme about back to black, but I used a lot of color too. So it's really like to encourage me also as a designer to bring in that little, you know, extra oomph of, you know, black finishes that defines, you know, a design better. So you can still hear me? Everybody, like, yeah. So here, like my last couple of pieces, last but not least, here, this is the Caspia charcoal rug. It's by Laloy and it's designed by Justina Blekeney, and I love Justina. Love what her creativity, and it's really like it reflects of her, like of her being, you know, her inside out, how beautiful she's inside and out. So, and here with this Caspia rug, she created a whole collection with Laloy. And here, this is a hand tufted, 100% polyester shag pile rug, but it has great depth, this silky softness, the texture, and you can see like variations of light on it. So it's really like a beautiful piece to work with in any room. It's perfect for homes with kids and pets, I'm sure, because it, you know, with polyester and it's low maintenance and brings in lots of comfort. So and also I love the diamond design and the super soft pile. It also comes in several other rich colors, so don't think it's just with this darker charcoal color. It's you can use that kind of rugs in any room. I would use this one particularly in a den where the family comes together, in a home office, like to sink my toes in, like under the desk, there's no one saying. Or in a bedroom, you know, by the window where you have a chair or an accent chair, so you can just, you know, curl up with a book or a cup of tea and you know, feel comfy, feel, you know, and really like you're wrapped into softness. So that's how this rug comes to me, wrapped into softness. And then here, the drop coffee table, which is a really artistic piece to me. It's in Humber black. It's by Noir, which means black in French, and I'm sure you can hear my accent. It's a mahogany piece. It's very substantial, you know, and it's very creative. And definitely, I think a conversational piece when you have it in the middle of your living room, because it's really artistic. It's, I would say, like it would go in modern or eclectic or transitional design. It's very fun to look at. I'm sure the lights also like must play, like reflect shadows, you know, reflective shadows with the different drapes, and even the name of it. I'm sure lots of love has been placed into creating such an artistic piece, which names suggest dripping paint. So I'm sure my kids will try to create something like that with paint. It's definitely a very unique piece. So I mean, it caught my attention because it looks so unique and so artsy. So it's not necessarily my usual to-go pieces, but it's you know, exceptional in terms of the creativity.
Quite original, so it's fun to look at. But thank you so much, Marie, for walking us through. What a fun bunch of items.
Thank you. It was exciting.
Next up, we have Nadia. Excited to talk about your trend a little bit, Nadia. You say here, you know, you're talking about natural materials and artisan made. Using natural materials is a great way to add texture to any room and can be incorporated into many different aesthetics. The addition of a handmade piece to any design creates a sense of grounding and embodiment in the space. So I'm excited to chat about your pieces, but talk to us a little bit about what this means to you.
I love using different textures throughout rooms and design. And I feel that using natural materials especially automatically brings those textures in to the room. And also when something is handmade, just in itself, you know, something that's been made, you know, using hands to make something adds a level of warmth to it as well. And so I love these kind of two combos together here because it's a great way, and you know, for who's watching, it's a great way to kind of introduce things and to a space and think about adding those textures kind of immediately.
Agreed. Yeah, let's take a look at some of your products. This was such a fun mix.
So the one on the left is a white stone handmade by Palachek. So you have that coolness of the stone there as an accent table. Then in the middle, we have a chair that has a rope. I'm getting a few notes out. With a jute rope woven in the back that's between two metal slats, and then the wood frame, and then the seat. So I love this piece because there right off the bat, you have 3 different materials in one chair. It could be dining room chairs, it could be an accent chair, or in a bedroom or whatnot. Then I've moved on to lighting. So we've gone with Hudson Valley lighting, this wood base with a little accent of brass around, you know, partway down. I just want to touch the the base of it, just so how smooth the wood has been able to shine there.
Yeah. I love Palachek, you know, especially both indoor and outdoor. Their pieces are amazing. But do you see, you know, in terms of outdoor, just as a designer, do you see that, you know, space or area just going crazy? Because I feel like at Luxe, you know, everyone's focusing on that sphere, right? Especially a year and a half. But do you find a lot more of your clients are asking you to focus on that area?
We're kind of the indoor outdoor. Being in Colorado, we do have wonderful weather, right? You know, it's hot, right? We do also have the extremes. So we have to, you know, kind of, it's not the best outdoor most of the time of the year. We are doing, you know, more covered areas or more umbrellas to kind of shade in some of that, or landscaping to help with cooling down, you know, right when the sun starts setting, those outdoor spaces can become much cooler and not as sunny, which is nice.
And I would just want to hear from the other designers, like Jamilyn, are you also seeing a big boom in outdoor? I guess Arizona, really, you can be there all year, right? Oh, you're on mute. Sorry. Oh, Jamilyn, you're on mute.
Thank you. You can hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. In Arizona, like Nadia was saying, you know, we live indoor and outdoor, like Colorado does as well. But and we are seeing, you know, a trend, and it really isn't even a trend for us out here, because we really do live indoors and outdoors. And I think throughout this whole last, you know, 18 months that we've all been faced with, you know, our climate has been so embracing for what we've all had to face, because we have been able to be outside and our windows open. And right now we're not so much outside, and our windows are certainly not open, but you know, we are pretty nice year round, and we do see a lot of outdoor living for sure.
Jay, what about you? I know San Francisco's maybe not the place for the summer, but I mean, are your clients really asking you to focus on outdoor spaces?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially during the pandemic, but I think it was starting before. You know, you go 3 miles outside of San Francisco and you have normal summers, and I do a lot of work up in the wine country and Napa and Sonoma, and it's very indoor, outdoor, you know, big open doors that open up. So you've got, you know, 20 feet of span of openness between what is the interior and the exterior, and whether that's covered or uncovered. It's really creating additional living space. And I think that it was, I think with so many people being at home over the last 18 months, they realized how underutilized their space might be. And it also was a place where they felt comfortable having friends and family come over and that sort of thing. So there has been a big push. I'm sure, as we've all seen the back order of Umbrella fabric these days and the lead times to get outdoor fabrics, you're noticing it as well.
Yeah, and Marie, I mean, especially for your New York clients, I mean, what do you focus? I mean, ideally you want a terrace. I mean, I certainly don't have one, but what are your clients asking for when it comes to outdoors?
Outdoors, well, most of my clients, I mean, the clients that I have that are in New York, more New Jersey area, have outdoor spaces. And then definitely they want to be able to utilize those 3 months that we have in this area to enjoy the outdoors. And so it's really about like investing in durable pieces that will sustain all the weather changes, and be able to have, you know, the right covering for it, or have space to store them also. So I see more and more, and some of my clients actually sold their New York apartment and moved to New Jersey and Connecticut and bought homes which had the indoors and outdoors. So I've been, the last 8-9 months have been about creating also those outdoors for the East Coast clients also. And today, like, I'm in LA, but it's, you know, you can see that the outdoors patios are all filled all around the pools, even on mine. And those you can leave outdoors all year long, nothing happens to them. You can only enjoy them in the evening though, because during the day it's 100 degrees right now. So
lucky to be envious. But Nadia, talk to us about some of your other products. I love this rattan piece.
Oh my goodness, that is one of my favorites. I love that caning, and I know how hard it is to make that. And so I think I was immediately drawn to it, just growing up with cane furniture and whatnot. And then the frame of it is a bronze frame. And I love that it gives some light, but then through the caning, you get these other interesting shapes as well. I could see this over an island in a sitting room, over a kitchen table or something like that. But just, I am obsessed with that. I think that was one of my first things that caught my eye. Then we have these 2 pieces from Global Views, which I think does an amazing job with accessories. We have a pyramid made out of wood with little grooves in it. And then we have this whimsical hand formed and cut vase sculpture that has been dipped in an antique white glaze for the finish of it. And so I love how much personality that has for a bookshelf or a table. And so I was also very drawn to that right away, like the caning.
I loved these sort of accessories or some of these finishing touches that you Those, are you usually thinking about that early on in the scheme, or is that more things at the end where you're just sort of placing them and seeing what works?
It really depends on the project, but I'm constantly, I'm seeing the room finished in my mind when we start. And so sometimes we'll use pieces that the client already owns, or I'll need a piece to balance with the color or the softness or the texture of a piece. Like example, these two containers and the two previously would be great in bookshelves. I don't think I would put all 4 of them together, but they each have their own uniqueness. And so it kind of depends. Another part of the time, what we'll do is we'll accessorize towards the end, or we might find 1 or 2 along the way that we keep knowing that it will have a home one day in the project.
And then this was also, I love this lighting. I think it's a seagrass sort of woven piece.
It is. It's a seagrass that's been woven with then this little X stitch as well. And again, the clearly someone, used their hands to make this. The natural material feels, you can imagine it right now just by looking at the image. And so I love the texture in that. That would be wonderful, even accents in a powder room or in a hallway, down the hallway or whatnot, or fireplace as well. So I love those combos there. And then there's a picture and then a little container, and I was drawn to the picture because of the color of it, kind of bringing in the ocean, kind of color accent. And then let me see, then the small marble container. So clearly that's been worn down. It has almost an antique feel to it versus something that's been recently made, like the picture. Yeah.
And the mix I thought was so fun. I could just have used any of these, or you can use them all together. Like
they could be in the same home.
Exactly. Well, next up, we are talking about history in the making. Jamilyn says, fashion and interiors have always been intertwined and paired well in forecasting. Classics, rich organics, and simple silhouettes are making a strong statement right now. Modern day classics and pieces with layers of history mix well while retaining the warm and embracing appeal in intimate spaces. Jamilyn, I thought this was so interesting, but tell us what, history in the making sort of means to you, because I feel like there's a lot of layers here, right?
There's a lot of layers, and I think history in the making, it's almost as if we're repeating. And as we know, in fashion, design, everything comes back around. Music, we were talking about music earlier in here. There was a song on that has been remade and remade. So, we continue to see the repeat. It's just, I find that I think we become a little more refined. Our styling is more relaxed. We're living a little bit more relaxed, even though we still really like to entertain, and we have, family and friends over, and we're just doing it a little bit different. But when I was looking through all of the things that are at the Las Vegas market, but I also attend, the High Point market quite a bit. And it does really cross over, and even in Paris we're seeing a lot of the classics are returning, but they're just returning in a little bit more refined and also in a relaxed way as well. And that's just a personal attraction for me too. So it was kind of an easy one to be attracted to for this.
I always have to remind myself, like design is cyclical, right? Like you're gonna see things always come back, and shapes and motifs and all of that. So this really resonated with me, your trend. But walk us through some of your pieces.
So that Dash and Albert rug, they do, such a vast variety and selection, and they do a really nice job. It's a moderate price point. It's very livable, and they're just really, they do a beautiful job I think you can really kind of dive into it in any period or styling. So this one here just really resonated with being very organic and classic, which we're kind of seeing in all of our trends that we selected. But this is a really small, very tiny little loop wool rug, comes in multiple sizes. But I think that it's a beautiful backdrop to, I kind of put all of my pieces together that would kind of sit into a space nicely. And then after seeing what everybody else selected, I thought, well, this could make up for a really beautiful home. So we can kind of play off of everybody's pieces. But it's a 100% wool. It's going to be a little firmer to walk on, but I think it's a beautiful, well-constructed backdrop for if it's the chair that I selected is pallet check, like Nadia, and it is an outdoor chair, but I mean, it could equally be as beautiful indoors and on that rug. So it's that pallet check chair, it's a teak frame, and it's hand roped, and it's an outdoor synthetic rope, but it's a beautiful rope that will withstand time outdoors. Teak in our climate, you know, it's definitely going to weather into a silver tone, and it probably in most communities. But if you keep a teak oiled, you know, it can kind of enhance its brown, beautiful, rich tones. It will darken over time, but I think it's a beautiful piece for indoors as well. And I love it with the white linen, of course, because I'm kind of the white girl. I like the black, Marie. But I do get attracted to just really light and airy.
Cream and white is so sophisticated. So
You can definitely pair. Don't worry, Jamilyn.
There's my black. So I love this noir desk, and it comes in a couple of sizes. This one's a nice size for a desk, a home office. It can be you know, I would use that as a console in an entry. You know, it can be in a bedroom. It could be a beautiful vanity. So this is multiple uses. And again, it's very, you know, it has it's a hand rubbed black finish on it, and you know, those turned legs are beautiful. The carving along the edge detail, the brass pulls on the drawer. It's just a really pretty piece, and you see that a lot out of, you know, Italian furniture and Spanish furniture. This is actually taken off of an old Portugal desk that they had remade, you know, reinterpreted into their own design noir. And it's just a really pretty piece, and very classic. Could be in a very modern setting, which is, I would probably pair that into some, you know, very clean upholstered pieces, and just really keep it very chic. But it's a really pretty piece.
So some of the art you chose too, because I want to ask you a little bit about just art, because I always feel, at least for me, there's so much that goes into it, right? It's very personal if your client has a collection, but then I always find like you're looking for sources. And I do think Left Bank is a great source, right?
Left Bank is a great source because you can buy the original. Most of the time you can buy the original, or you can buy the clays, you can buy different sizes. They're really good to work with, and it's very flexible depending on your project. This piece, I think, is really a pretty piece. And again, the rich hues, a lot of beautiful movement. It's a contemporary piece, you know, and we see there's such a vastness to contemporary art. And this is just a classic that I think could hang in a home for decades and never tire of it. But it has a lot of rich hues. We've got, you know, we're seeing the black intertwined in all the organic rich tones. And this is by artist Giselle Kelly. This particular piece comes, as I mentioned, in many sizes. This one is in their line, and it can be under glass. It could be framed in any way that you'd like. I think it wrapped as a canvas could be really beautiful. And you know, I mean, it looks beautiful with that desk. So I like how you paired those two together. And the other selections that I made, you know, again, they're all very classic, but I just love the rich tones in it. You know, you can pull from other colors and really kind of make a statement with just that art.
Yeah, This was a beautiful piece, but I want to take a quick poll, you know, with the rest of designers. Jay, I'll start with you just because you have those two art pieces behind you, but do you have any tips, you know, for selecting art, or are you shopping with clients, you know, for art? How does that work a little bit for you?
Yeah, we do quite a bit of art curation for clients. A lot of my clients, you know, they're, especially in the Bay Area, they're suddenly buying homes that are much larger than where they're coming from, and they've got a lot of walls to fill, and they don't know too much about art. And I love doing it because I think the way we kind of get into the client's head is taking them to galleries, you know, whether it's, I usually think that 3 is about our limit, but we'll choose 3 in a day and go and really enjoy ourselves. And I'll pick a few things for clients, but I also want to see how they're reacting to pieces and that sort of thing. And we do that, you know, as many times as the clients would like to. And then from there, a lot of times when we do an installation, we'll bring in art on the last day, and we'll bring in, if they've purchased pieces, great. But also if there's just pieces that they liked when we were shopping, we'll bring things out, and based on their likes and dislikes, I might bring some more things out, and we'll just play and hang things in their space and hold it up and see it, and then they can live with it for a few days. So it really is, you know, I'm helping them to create their own collection, but I'm not choosing the art for them.
Got it. Okay. And what about you, Marie? Are you shopping with clients for art as well, or do a lot of your clients already have, you know, art collections?
It's a balance of both. I have clients who are really, they have the heart of artists already, so they collect sculpture and photography and art itself. So it's it's great to work with them to integrate a lot of the pieces that they already have and basically build onto it. And then I have clients who are actually have, you know, like Jay, like buying bigger homes, and they have bigger walls, and they're not sure where to start. And a lot of my clients are more attracted to photography, actually. I mean, my more recent clients. So we look at different artists and go directly to the photographers, the artists, and look at galleries, not only online, but also in person. So we can, and being that I'm working on 2 different coasts, sometimes you have art that is in LA and needs to be shipped, you know, in New York or so. So we start with, you know, really like pre-selecting, and then after try to narrow down to their favorite pieces so they can, you know, really have them displayed in their home. So.
Yeah, because sometimes, I mean, you know, a room starts with the art piece, right, or the work or the sculpture in many instances. But yeah, can you weigh into how do you go about selecting art with your clients?
Hi, was that me, Kathryn?
I'm just going to ask you to weigh into.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't hear part of that. I would say half and half. So some come to the table with collections that we are moving from one house to another. And so we are planning around those pieces during, you know, for the installations and display walls and whatnot. And then I have a few clients that we've been working with for so long that we've moved it from maybe like 3 different houses. And recently they actually installed some art today while I've been away. But we literally made a wall for this, you know, 8-foot by 6-foot piece. And it was, you know, once it arrived, I screamed. So a little bit of both, but I love being able to plan where pieces will be, knowing once I've been familiar with client's collection. And then there are some go-to galleries that I frequent often to kind of bring in pieces to see if new are needed or whatnot. And then also some of my clients like to travel and find pieces along the way. So we might leave a few areas opened for that, or things that can shift from one space to, you know, one room to another as well.
Got it. So Jamilyn, I think you have one more slide. Actually, these were my favorite pieces, I have to say. These Curry & Company were very Joseph Hoffman, Wiener Werkstatt-esque, but tell us about these items.
Those are beautiful. I really love these two and was drawn to them. And there's a few more in the collection. I think Curry & Company did a beautiful job with their accessories. These are frosted glass, and the black really stands beautifully off of that frosted glass. And they're beautiful silhouettes. They could be paired together. I think they are probably about 16, let me take a peek here, 16 inches high on that long neck. And then the other one is about 12 inches high. They're both a vase. I think they're beautiful silhouettes on their own. I just think that there's the black that Marie was talking about earlier, but it really is, they're very classic, very deco feeling to me. And this is what I was saying about, seeing a lot of refined pieces that, we've seen. These have come, through in many shapes and forms throughout the years. But it's really beautiful the way that they paired it with that opaque glass. And the interiors too, I thought that was a really beautiful fixture with that cut glass, again, very classic and elegant with a matte black finish on that, the base. But I love to, in my gallery here, I love to use a sconce like that to spot art. So a really pretty small painting. The one that I showcased in this, for this segment, is a large piece, but it could, if that was a small little footprint, that would be a really pretty little art light for it as well. But this could be used in anywhere in a home, in a kitchen, it could be in a bathroom, in a foyer. It's just a really pretty light fixture that our interiors created. So again, all these pieces, I think they really play well off of periods, and we've seen these before, and they all have kind of a tuxedo appearance. The way I'm looking at this right now, it's really pretty, and it doesn't have to be so buttoned up. Even though these have a elegance to them, I think they can be just really casual and in a really simple, elegant way. The way it's presented.
Yeah, these felt very, very sophisticated to me. So last but certainly not least, Jay, your trend was rustic, Vogue, and cottage core. I thought this was so fun. Nostalgia and comfort have replaced the previously popular stark modern designs. Rustic Vogue is the idea of old and new pieces that work well together, ideal for a home with exposed beams, original floorboards, or paneled walls. Cottage core is rural yet chic and involves a muted pastel palette with patterns along with vintage barware and gold accessories. So this was really fun. This also really resonated with me because I feel like I'm seeing this a lot in product design and interiors. But talk to us a little bit about what this means to you.
Sure, this was interesting for me as well, because I definitely consider myself sort of using these trends, but then when I started looking at it a little bit deeper, it really is a sort of a way that I'm moving a little bit in some of my own design. I consider myself fairly modern, though I love mixing patterns and colors, but furnishings tend to be fairly modern. But I always want, and I've always wanted, a home to feel like it's been collected over time. And I think that soulfulness that you get, it comes in pieces like artwork and accessories, but also if you have furnishings that have, a rustic nature to them, and that's combined with, maybe it's the upholstery is very clean lined and simple, that starts to give you that sort of that edge and that soulfulness that I'm always looking for in design. And the cottage core to me is a little bit more, it's more traditional in a sense. And I think I've really sort of almost shied away from traditional over the years, but it seems to be something that I'm going back towards again, and really love that mixing the more traditional pieces with more modern pieces.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe it's just because in New York, everyone moved out of the city and went sort of up, to upstate New York. And that obviously happened all around the country, right? There's this real estate boom, but I feel like it's a lot of just, with people buying country homes, it's this rustic feel, and it's almost this sort of like haphazard English country style that's also kind of emerging, which is interesting. But let's take a look at some of your items. Talk to us about this fabulous Interiors reclaimed piece.
Sure. Yes, I love this piece by Barry Dixon, and it's been around for a little while, but it's a piece that I use frequently. I try not to repeat myself too much, but these are one of those things that it's just got a lot of bang for the buck, and it's a beautiful piece. So I can use it in a living room or as a nightstand and that sort of thing. I love the reclaimed base that you see. It almost feels like it's a railroad tie. I like that sense of it could be a found object. The iron piece with all the hammering, you know, you can sort of see the hand that it took to make this piece, sort of like some of the other pieces that the other designers have shown us, where there's some hand hammering, there's a texture there. You can imagine the metal worker in his studio heating the metal and creating that look. So I love that sort of feel, and again, that juxtaposition of putting things like this next to more modern furnishings or upholstery that's very streamlined, like a piece by Christian Liag or Holly Hunt or something like that. The chair by Moe's, and I wasn't familiar with Moe's, so thank you to the Las Vegas market for introducing me to Moe's. But it's, again, this is not in my normal wheelhouse, but it just drew me in because I love the mid-century nod. I usually don't do too much upholstery in leather because I feel like it can be a little bit cold, but I just wanted to kind of sink into this chair. And I love the textured leather. I love that it's got some age to it. I love the black legs. Its simplicity is great. You know, it's one of those things that you could curl up in Indian style with a blanket and have a glass of wine or 3 or 4 with a friend. And I could see this in a sitting area with 4 chairs in a circle with an ottoman around it, or it could be sitting in the corner of a bedroom in a cabin or in an apartment.
Definitely. Yeah, and a lot of your pieces almost had that sort of vintage reclaimed feel to me, which was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you sort of collect those pieces for your shop as well, or how does that work?
I do. A lot of my shop is and usually that happens when traveling. So there aren't too many pieces in there right now that have that are from that. But I love collecting pieces when traveling vintage. A lot of accessories. The shop is in the front of my studio, and it's not a huge space. So we do a lot of accessories or smaller pieces of furniture and things like that. But I love found objects, and I love found objects turned into something different or turned into something functional. I think that's always very fun. Like this table by Moe's, again, this sort of very organic quality to it that's been turned into a little end table, you know, that again this could be, you know, 3 of these could be sitting in front of a sofa and could be a coffee table. This could be a nightstand in a bedroom, all those sorts of things.
Very versatile. Yeah.
Yeah. The Interiors piece I loved because it felt like, you know, a pair of shutters that somebody had taken, that sort of craftsman feel, that's a pair of shutters that somebody had taken and turned them into doors on a cabinet. I love the metal work again, those exposed rivets and the really sort of antique, old school clasps that close the doors together. I think that's really fun as well. The light fixture was sort of my, I don't know why, but I love it. Light fixture. I don't know if it's Rustic Vogue. I don't know if it's Cottage core, but it just looks cool. I love that sort of, it kind of reminded me of a spider web, you know, that had gone awry, but the hand hammered feel to it and the craftsmanship of it, I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, it's also very graphic. It almost was like a statement to me. And then I love this mix. They all felt kind of worldly, right? Like a little bit haphazard, but it all kind of works.
Yes, exactly. That noir piece. I think noir seems to be the hit for everybody for this market, but they've always done great stuff. But I love this sort of nod to campaign furniture, and I love the little brass details here. We were talking about accessories earlier, and I'm always thinking about where accessories are going to go, because I think that is one of the places where it's soulful and you infuse books and objects and found things and different things. So like if this was a nightstand, I'm always looking for nightstands that have open shelves below, because it's a way that we can sort of break up the monotony of nightstands next to a bed and, you know, these big pieces of furniture in a bedroom that you really need to have. But by accessorizing, you know, the shelf below and then putting a beautiful lamp above it, that's always, it's always fun in my design. that lamp from Interiors is, I love that sort of play on the little fleur-de-lis. It's not a lamp. If you showed me this lamp last year, I probably would have said, absolutely no, I'm not picking that, but I love it now. And I love it mixed with, it could be on a glass top end table. I'm working on a hotel up in Healdsburg right now that is an old estate that was built in the 1880s, which for Northern California is very old. And so there's that sort of bringing back, sort of modernizing the space and bringing it up to date, but also paying homage to the time period that it was in. So I find myself looking at more pieces like this that are a little bit more traditional and not in my normal wheelhouse. And I think it's really interesting to juxtapose those with modern pieces.
I agree. Yeah, all about the mix.
And the Interiors, the little tables there, I love the hand hammered brass. I think brass is around and sticking around for quite some time now. Love the end table, love it being flat. It's almost like it's an urn that's been turned upside down and turned into a little table.
Ah, so fun. Well, thank you guys all so much for, sharing what you guys are seeing in the market. Definitely got me excited, for going back to Las Vegas and sort of doing some scouting. But just to wrap up, I have a few more questions for each of you. This past year and a half, it's sort of been this renewed focus on the home, right? Or at least design in general. And I'd love to hear from each of you, how has that been good or bad for you, or really what has changed? Obviously, we're doing something like this, which, normally we wouldn't be doing. So, virtual has sort of skyrocketed, good or bad, but are you sort of approaching design a little bit differently? Are you approaching, the way you conduct business, or, even, Jamilyn and Jay, I know you guys have shops, has foot traffic, boomed? I just kind of want to hear a little bit, your take as designers. You guys are the pros, really what's changed for you, in the past year and a half.
Well, I can say that I have found that people are very focused on home. They've been home for a while, and we are, even including myself, although I'm always in my shop, but I am seeing things differently, and I'm wanting to freshen up, and I'm wanting to make some changes. And so I do think that that's probably what I've seen most of, is that people are entertaining again. We do a lot of dinnerware and handmade glassware, and we were inundated throughout, our season here. We're quiet in the summers here, but we were so busy with people just really focused on entertaining again, making those patios beautiful, and just really sprucing things up. So we're busy. But as far as like styles changing, we're seeing trends, and people want comfort, and they're really living in their spaces. They want to be able to really use their space. So comfort is a big part of it, for sure. We're seeing that.
Marie, what about you? What sort of changed this past year or so?
Been extremely busy.
You're busier than ever. Yeah.
Extremely busy. And like Jamilyn said, people have been focused more on their, home well-being. But I think the priorities have changed. We've focused on health, we've focused on families, and so people just turn back to regrouping and being as a family at home, and how can we make our lifestyle more enjoyable, and how each person in the family, each person in the home can feel, comfortable, can feel that they have their own space. And as designers, that's how, business has come more. So from even my shop exponentially increased in sales, because,
right.
People just buying many more candles, buying more pillows, investing in the $3,000 chair that they've been thinking about, and they were like, oh, no way, I'm not buying a chair at this price. But then now they want it because it's now or never. And also remodelings, people have been cooking more. I've been looking at this terrible bathroom that they had for how many years, and that now they want to remodel it. They want to change, and they're cooking more, so they want to remodel their homes. So we've been busy with several projects, not only in New York, in New Jersey, in upstate New York, but also like calls in Oregon and in Florida and also in LA. And I just came to LA for a few weeks to actually even remodel my own home because I'll say like,
how do you find that?
Yes, it's like that we have the apartment in New York, which we remodeled years ago, and we could live in really nicely. But the home in LA always been like, okay, we'll do a project. And we find ourselves as designers being like the shoemaker with the worst shoes. You have to also like, look at your own. And along with, remodeling your client's home and looking after their well-being, looking at your own family's well-being. So it's been definitely an opening eye experience. And with the Zoom and all the social media, we definitely be more reachable, more available faster, because you are just a touch of a button behind a screen. So we've been also able to respond faster to all different clients and be more available in that sense, because you don't have the commute anymore. So it's been a busy period, definitely.
Nadia, what about you? What's changed the most, in this time?
I think when I come into a house and approach how the rooms are being used by the families or couple, that's really a big thing, is the function of the spaces, and making sure that a study might function also as a guest bedroom, but then as a retreat for the husband or whatnot. So I'm really approaching it in a way of, okay, where are the kids doing the homework? Where do you want them to, let's give them a few different options of this. Where is family visiting and where they get to stay? Do you still have space for yourself if you have family in town? So really just kind of going through how they live their life and what they do in each of the rooms, and making sure each room has a little bit more than one function.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jay, what about you?
Yes, I think that similar to what Nadia was saying, I think that the function has become really a focal point, where not that it wasn't before, but I think I'm finding that you might have two parents on Zoom calls for work and a kid or two on Zoom for school, if they're not in school, that sort of thing. And so the big open floor plan that we've all become so accustomed and in love with suddenly is a problem, because there's people Zooming everywhere and talking back and forth, and the sound picking that up. So it's been interesting to see how to deal with this and how we've gone about that, and those new challenges that used to be we want to open this up more. Now we're sort of thinking, okay, well, maybe we should add a wall here. Maybe we should put a door on this room, that sort of thing. I find it really interesting too, that clients literally want to use every inch of space they have. I've had clients, if there's a little closet in the corner that they don't need for storage, they're opening the door and saying, what can we do with this? Should we take it off and put shelves on it? Should we make a little bar out of it? I had some clients just the other day that sent me a message and said, the laundry room upstairs, we don't need it. Put the laundry in the basement and let's put a bar up there. I was like, because you don't want to go downstairs to the bar. They're like, absolutely, you're right. So I'm like, absolutely, yes, let's do it. I will never say no to a bar. So it's really interesting.
Well, again, thank you guys so much. I have one more question just to wrap it up. Again, I want to get everyone excited for Market. Such a fun place to be in Las Vegas, but is there one thing that you guys are all looking forward to? For me, when I'm at Market and in Las Vegas, it's obviously reconnecting with all of my industry friends, and I get a lot of inspiration and product for Luxe stories as well. But Nadia, you want to start with you, or are you looking forward to something in particular at Market?
I think I always, when I go to markets, I love finding new sources or vendors that I might not necessarily have seen or seen flipping through. More of just the personal relationship and getting to talk to someone in person about their products is what I enjoy and look forward to.
What about you, Marie?
Totally agree with Nadia. It's like the finding of new treasures, the finding of, you know, new brands or artists that you haven't worked with before, you haven't heard about, and putting in the light on them. And like, so it's like finding new things for me, and like discussing about their, you know, the craftsmanship and how they came to create those products. Because I have a collection myself, and I draw some product. I draw products too. So it's like, what is the relationship that you have with, you know, your collection? And so then that helps me as a designer to basically integrate it in the design and sell it to the client, and, you know, propose it to the clients, because I know the whole history behind it. And Jamilyn had the whole her theme was about you know, the story behind the product. So I think that's definitely this connection that I'm looking for. So love that.
Jamilyn, what about you? What are you looking forward to in Las Vegas?
Well, I think anytime I go to market, I just get really energized, and I'm always, it's just an energy, and it's a really good energy, and you walk away, well, you walk into it, you know, just looking for some new inspiration, but you walk away from it with just some amazing ideas and infusion of, you know, new products that you might want to work with, and how to use them. Everybody kind of puts things together so differently. So there's just a lot of inspiration. In Las Vegas market, they over the years have, you know, I've attended it several times. I've done some showrooms at Las Vegas market in the past, and it's really grown and developed after San Francisco, you know, and they kind of closed that market down. Although I do miss the San Francisco market. It just wasn't fun to try to get anything into that building, but it was a beautiful place to be. But Vegas does a great job with the market, and like I said earlier, it's a really easy market to navigate, and everything's pretty, and even their traffic and their parking, it's just an easy market compared to a lot of the markets that we do attend. But they've, over the years, they've really helped to develop a need on the West Coast for one of a kind. So they've got those, you know, they've really been building that and bringing in more organics and vintage, and I think they're still really developing that, but that's always kind of a fun first stop to see what you can find and grab first, and all of that. But, and then of course the dining's great. It's just a fun place.
It definitely is. And Jay, last but not least, what can you share?
Yes, I agree with everybody. I love the inspiration part of it. I think it's always interesting to see the new things. I love visiting my sort of go-tos and seeing what's new in their world and what they've created. But I also love trying to find some new vendors and new people that I haven't worked with. But I also really love seeing fellow designers and catching up with people that live in other places that you're probably not going to see them too often, if not at a market. It always feels like it's a very sort of not a competitive space to be in, and the camaraderie between designers, and really being able to like talk to other people about how they run their businesses and what they might do differently, or getting ideas from them. It's always really great. I find that very inspiring also.
I agree.
I agree.
And we might all meet in person because we actually have an
Right.
That's a great way to connect.
Yes.
I agree. Well, again, thank you, each of you all so much. I loved hearing about your trends, and it got me very, very excited for market and for doing some sourcing. Again, you know, go to lasvegasmarket.com to get more information, and I hope I see all our viewers there. And thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.